and lately has actually been studied by scientists. Okay? There's a very famous gentleman, I don't remember his name. He was an expert in something called material sciences. And they've done microscopy examination, uh, light examination, and element examination to figure out the age of the pigments. Because remember, this is on parchment, so it can be radioactively
Yeah.
tested for the age.
And they have an age, right?
They
They've
do.
carbon dated it.
They did. They carbon dated it, and the age that they're saying that the manuscript was written was, and it's very specific because something happened with the pigments where they accumulate in one. They do a spectral graph, and it's extremely specific. So they're 95% confident that the book was written between 1404 and 1438 AD.
Wow.
Very specific. This is scientific stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's really interesting. And there's a ton of theories. At first
Yeah.
they thought that because some of the pictures look infantile, that it might have been done by a young 8-year-old Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. Okay? But that's been debunked because when they studied the parchment and the pigmentation of all the paint that's on it, okay, the age came out to an area where Leonardo, I think, wasn't even born yet. And so it takes out a lot of people. It takes out that Roger Bacon, it takes out Jacobs Antonovich, it takes out all those guys because they came afterwards. Okay? And so it's very, very interesting, you know?
Yeah.
You've got linguistics that have looked at it, and, there are characteristic vowels in different languages, words that repeat themselves, phonetic patterns, and then there are, like, you can follow code depictions, like different codes, okay? Like Julius Caesar had a famous code that he had put together apparently where he would take the alphabet and just move the letter seven letters forwards in the alphabet, or three. So instead of the letter A being A, they moved it 3 letters forward, so that would be C. So where the letter A would be, you actually would read, like, let's say A, B, C, the third one C. And you can actually write quite quickly. And apparently there was a code like that for some of the instructions to go to war or something. So, you start learning a lot of things about this. And so anyway, they did this material science thing, and they also did the pigment evaluation. And that's how they came with this,
With that date.
with those date. And the pigments are very, very high quality. There are portions of the book that open up into full pages, and
It's intricate.
it, according to them, whoever wrote it probably took 3 years to write it. Another interesting point is that there are no mistakes and no corrections. So, when you're writing something that is this long or whatever,
Yeah.
you would, as a human being, have a tendency to make a mistake, and you're in the middle of the parchment. It's not like we can get the page and throw it away like nowadays. This was, to make those parchments, you had to kill the animal, get the skin, prepare the skin, put it through certain chemicals, put it to the sun to dry. I mean, I don't know the complexity of it, but it wasn't easy. So you have a page that opens up into 4 sections. The book would have been extremely expensive to produce. You had to have access to these parchments and be able to buy them and put them together like this, and you got 200 pages of this with tremendous ink pigmentation that are really bright, and
Yeah.
then that had to be created also like a lab in a, I mean,
Right.
you had to mix this with this. There's one that I mean, I know they talked about red ochre, which was difficult to make, and it's part of it.
Oh, the dye. That
Yeah,
they
the
use?
dyes. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
bright greens.
yeah, greens and blues, very vivid, even up to today when you look at the book, really, really vivid. So it's just it's more questions than anything else.
Yeah.